Yeah, so a priest, a rabbi, and I don't know the Muslim word for whatever their priest is. So
boy.
And back offline.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Is that the fastest ever?
What the?
I'm gonna go look at my phone really quick.
Okay.
So what the hell even is side tone? Apparently side tone isn't even on. Weird. No, I think it's just the microphone. Okay. Does my voice sound weird right now?
No more than normal.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds...
Because like I can hear it. I can hear my own voice when I you know, like your own voice sounds different,
Mm-hmm.
like in your head
Okay, I found
compared to like when you hear a playback of it. So when I pull the microphone down, right, I can hear what my voice actually sounds like. Fucking crazy.
That's a bummer.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So is my laptop mic really better than the microphone I was using like 5 seconds ago or whatever?
Say again, sorry?
You didn't hear me?
I was distracted.
No. I'm not cutting in and out at all though, am I?
No, you're not.
Cool. Cool.
Can everyone hear the music today?
Oh shit, I'm not roll 20 yet.
The Chocobo theme?
Yeah, correct.
I might just have it turned down like really low.
Also, sometimes
Yeah, I can hear
it
it.
doesn't play until you adjust the volume, and then it's super.
I need to. get
Oh,
out.
weird.
Hmm.
That's weird.
Yes, agree.
Say, isn't it your birthday today there, Moto?
No, it was my birthday on Sunday.
God,
Oh.
happy birthday, belatedly.
Oh yeah, happy birthday. Wait, Mo,
I
how old are
see.
you now?
I see
I'm
your party.
28.
Oh, me too for now.
Yeah, I'll be there someday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm just 13 female Callie, you know?
Stop. Everybody's like, Mitchell, how old are you? I'm like, 28. They're like, oh, I thought you were 17. I was like, that's a lie.
I don't know why I thought you were older than me.
Probably because I constantly talk about how old I am, and how old I feel.
Could be.
Also, it's because I am emotionally wizened.
Fair though.
It's okay. I got a birthday text that said, "Now can I call you daddy?" And I was like, first of all, no.
I assume we get a kickback from some of these random hero points, right? Like, we get hero points off of them?
No, that's not actually for, like, the sessions. Or the players. Those are for, like, the chat adventure things.
Oh, but it could be.
So, if I remember correctly, we killed Salamander last session, and he dropped this +5 flaming Great Rapier, which, it's just a rapier, but it has a
Great Rapier?
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
Sometimes
that Eve
known as a-
accidentally stabbed herself with it. And
Sometimes known as
it was
a grapier.
A Grapier, yeah. Watch out, I'm the grapist.
Oh dear.
I mean, it does make sense that Eve would be having some fever dreams.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and then after that, we killed Brass, and then
just cut a murder swath across the continent.
No. Then we didn't kill anybody else. Then we became peaceful merchants.
Oh, that's how you definitely
I got
know
bad
it's...
news. Ludwig killed a lot of people.
Oh, damn. Well,
he got a taste for poisoning.
Yeah, Eve actually decided to give up violence and became a monk. and then decided to get back into violence so she could dragon strike people for D10s.
She gave up stabbing people to death with daggers and was like, what if I just stab them with my hands instead?
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what happened.
Yep.
I'm glad we all remember what happened last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The harpies flew in, and we had a gigantic orgy with harpies and bugbears and goblin dogs. Yeah.
Well, you gotta be careful. Those goblin dogs are not sensitive.
What a weird
Like,
spin-off. What
They're very self-centered.
Look, I
True.
mean, like, come on. We're all inclusive here, aren't we?
I would say that everybody but Eve.
We're LGBTQIAGD. The GD stands for goblin dogs, alright? I'll be straight up with you. I actually don't know what half the fucking letters stand for anymore.
Well, that's fine.
There's like a Batman signal at the end of it now, too, right?
No?
Maybe a number?
No?
Not that I'm aware of.
The memes might have you believe otherwise.
I'm literally being sarcastic. All right. Reddit.com/spacedicks?
We need to move on. We need to start the game.
I've never been more glad you have not started the stream.
I mean, the stream's up. Stream's up.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Wither's sitting here being like, what the fuck?
Do we have like a disclaimer? The views expressed in the...
No, I'm just, dude, I'm warming up the audience. I'm the fluffer here, okay?
No.
Warming them up for something. Oh, I had the wrong Go Live notification. That's fine. It's done. It's over.
Look, I'm sure when the stream started, everybody was erect, and now, like, you know, they're waiting for us to fight Salamander, so I'm trying to fluff them here. I'm trying to keep them rock hard, right? And you know, I can do it in the Mike Damone voice if you guys want.
Oh my god.
All right. Would anyone like to do the recap?
We tried to challenge.
I want Nathan to do it because Nathan's notes of the recap, I'm sure, are very interesting.
Yeah.
See, we could have a contrast of I do it taking no notes, and then we have Nathan who is
just jump in repeatedly. Well, actually.
But also, my favorite thing about Nathan's notes is that I feel like sometimes they miss critical context. So sometimes he'll just say something, and it's just like, that's not really what was occurring there.
It is technically accurate, but maybe not completely accurate.
It's sure what you wrote down at the time, 100% of the time.
What he wrote down, but not what was actually, like, that's my favorite thing about the notes.
we're not under oath here. We don't need to give the whole truth.
Exactly.
Also, I really hate because that I'm starting to have like that Midwestern like long O, and I can feel it.
Long O. What are you?
Yeah, like oats, like.
Oh?
How else would you say oats?
Yeah. How do you
No,
normally
I know,
say oats?
but it's so like
Is it-
so like
literally,
it's just very visibly different.
I
and
can't wait till the
wish you
morning
guys understood.
when I'm gonna eat my oots.
Oh, hey, get over here.
Yeah, sorry, that was.
I
sorry.
suppose, you know, I can see it.
That actually did sound pretty Canadian.
Oh, hey, look out, it's the Mounties.
Oh, I actually think I know what you mean, Yamoto.
Like if
The
I
like
don't
2
know.
syllable O.
Yeah, the
The
two syllable
what?
O, rather than just like, oh, I'm gonna go eat some oats now.
Yeah, you're
It's
just
like-
starting to do the oats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the long oo.
Yeah, you lead into the A. Oh,
Yeah.
it's.
So now I'm gonna have to practice just saying like oats.
That's actually
I'm-
that's
oh,
actually a
I'm
thing.
gonna
Now that you
do-
mention it.
I'm gonna really lean into the
Thank you.
into the Midwestern accent more. And
I say, please be careful, though, because I have enough problems talking, and if I really start hearing what I hear around me, it's just gonna get bad. Oh, hey, you get any of that lutefisk?
oh god.
What?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
for sure. Oh, for sure.
Oh, we're gonna go sturgeon hunting this weekend.
Sven always brings some to the potluck.
Oh, it's gonna be a tough summer up here without the potlucks.
Yeah. Boy, ain't it.
What are we gonna do for a fish fries?
I looked up slang phrases only Midwesterners use, or I found a list.
Are those coming out?
Up north?
Yeah, I'll
Is
try
up
and use
north up there.
I'm trying to find some like that actually are. See, one thing that I thought was pretty accurate, but I also feel like it could be a not Midwest thing too, is the saying like no, yeah, yeah, no, yeah, for sure, or no, like that thing.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's more of a millennial thing rather than.
Possibly.
I think that's just like more of a generational
It
thing
could
rather
be.
than being in the Midwest. Because like in California, if you say yeah, no, that means no, and you say no, yeah, that's yeah. Like that, I think it's more generational.
Yeah. I can tell
But
you
also
that
like
it took me an actual million years to stop saying the cities in reference to the Twin Cities. It's a
Yeah.
very Minnesotan thing.
Up there in Minneapolis?
Yeah. Like, on the internet, I would just say the cities, and people would be like, what the fuck are you? What? Cities? Which ones?
No, the cities.
Yeah. The ones.
I ain't no country yokel. I've been to the cities.
Like, Minnesota has Duluth, and then the cities. And those are the only cities you got.
That checks out.
I thought you were
Alright,
going to say the
let's
Midwest
do
only
this
has two
recap.
cities.
We got
Not
All of these
correct.
aren't good.
Every state pretty much has a city that's pretty sizable, except the Dakotas. Dakotas get fucked.
Wait, what about Fargo, North
It's
Dakota?
no man.
Well, don't you want to drive for hours through nothing to get to Fargo, North Dakota? To any of our Fargo viewers, welcome. We love you.
I once lived
Wasn't
in your borders.
This is
Sure.
entirely. I don't know, Dylan. You might know the answer to this question, but also I don't know. The initial like Fargo movie wasn't that filmed in Brainerd?
A couple locations, but yes, parts of
Yeah.
it were filmed in Brainerd. It didn't take place in Fargo. Neither does the show.
Yep.
Well,
For the first half, anyway.
there are
I
a
don't know.
lot of movies that don't take place in the place it's supposed to take place in.
Well, no, I mean it. Like story-wise, does not take place in Fargo. Hour it was filmed.
But the show is amazing. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
The first episode ends in Duluth, and it's great.
Look, I'm still trying to rewatch Shameless.
Yeah.
Can't really be distracted right now.
Understand.
Okay, who's giving us this recap?
All right, I'm in it. I'm on it. I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
Okay. Eve went AFK, but we'll probably be back by the time you're done, maybe.
Well, that's probably good because Eve probably won't like all of the notes. So, at the beginning, we found ourselves at Salamander's camp, right next to Salamander, who was a snoozing. In the morning, Eve was going around spreading a whole bunch of rumors that seemed pretty successful at convincing everyone that Brass was, like, right next door a-knocking. Meanwhile, Sonus and Ludwig explored the temple, found, kind of snuck inside the main atrium, found 3 sealed doors, a sealed fresco from the floating city, and a whole bunch of sacrifices that they did not touch. Afterwards, they went out and told everybody about the temple. Eve needed to see it, and then stole everything from inside.
Correct.
Yeah, pretty much. After realizing that they could not open the fresco door, due to it having a different symbol, the symbol of Scala, the goddess of time, and Eve's little symbol does not match that. Among the stuff we stole some flares, fireballs, feather trinkets, and a staff that we have not identified but has a burned top and is probably fireball related. Good hunch. Outside, Sonus met Fallig, I believe. Is that how you say it? Fallog?
Yeah.
Fallig, a goblin who basically made him watch a ritual in which they poked a fire elemental in some fashion and said his name was something like Soul Flash, but that could be a mishearing on my part. Below that, what do we got? Eve then, after we met up, makes a big old distraction with some flare fireballs. While there is a whole hubbub, Ramona gets anointed as a cleric, and everyone starts talking to Salamander and trying to reason with him. It doesn't go well. We get this cool vision of getting stabbed in the chest by Adam, which is probably part of Salamander's past. And then none of our diplomacy works. Eve tries stabbing him. And in the notes it is, Eve gets her ass handed to her and imprisoned. Sonus and Ludwig book it out. Solus saves Eve by pledging his service to Salamander. Later that day, Zima breaks Eve out of the cage, where she promptly meets up with Ludwig and Sonus. After credits shot, Avengers style, Rava and the Harpies show up to the city. What did I miss? I think that kind of gets us roughly where we were.
Yeah.
I think you missed the part where his worst save was plus 16.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Also, I was surprised to hear that Adam stabbed Salamander in the chest.
Was that not the case in the vision?
Yeah, it was like... I probably described it poorly, but...
He lit him on fire, like an intense fucking mass fire.
He was stabbed, and then there was a flash to another memory of, like, Adam looking down at him.
He was stabbed.
He was stabbed medically.
Got it. He was stabbed prior to Adam looking down at him. It was not like, oh, so, I am Adam stabbing you.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was like,
what is Adam goofy?
Looks like you got stabbed there, buddy.
Gorsh, that looks serious.
Gorsh? I'll fucking do it again.
Oh god.
That's gonna be my next character.
gosh, I did it.
All right, well,
Murder.
thank you for that recap. We're gonna, I think, start with Solus, since we focused on the other folks a lot last time. I think there's like... Excuse me as I clear my throat 70 million times. I think like immediately after the fight, like you're kind of escorted elsewhere, or just like brought away from Salamander as like his wounds are attended to a little bit.
What wounds?
He got stabbed pretty serious, you know. But you've got like, I don't know, you're escorted somewhere else. You find yourself alone in like one of the corners of this temple, where you're just kind of chilling for the moment. It seems like you're kind of taking out your word that like you're gonna stick around, or at least that if you run away, like you're probably done with this fight. Like mostly people are kind of whatever about you right now. So you're like, Jesus. How about you just tell me what are you doing in this like quiet moment where you're let off alone?
I'm praying that my friends don't do anything dumb.
Well, you're praying
That's,
to the wrong God then, buddy.
True.
That's understandable. An understandable prayer. I think you're maybe you're just like brought to this like this hill kind of up north, kind of this just this path along a steep decline into the forest below, and like there's some guards like nearby, but not they're not paying you too much attention. And I think you like hear the sound of like a lute or a harp, maybe. We'll go with a harp, just a hand harp, and you look over, and there's like just like a humanoid with like elf ears coming out, very visible, but they're wearing like this mask that's like reminiscent of a stag, has like some horns coming off the top, but it's more like the skull of a stag than something like what the green stags have on their shield. And like just like they're playing this harp and they're like tuning it a little bit. And they're like, they say you showed me such a brilliant story with the last god you took down in the cave Explicita. It's a shame, it seems this one won't be quite so brilliant.
So this chapter is maybe not a victory. Maybe not one written in battle, at least.
I suppose it... And she, like, plays a couple of notes on the harp and starts to, like, play just a little melody, kind of a melancholy sound. It says...
I get it, because she's a harpy.
She is not. She is an elf.
I know, that's...
Yeah, I think she's just, like, sitting on the wall of the temple above you. And she says, I suppose you could scrape together something of a victory yet. Make a fine enough poem. Does your tale end here, you think? It's the refrain that you whisper in Salamander's ear, keep him away from Eden for who knows how long?
I've not really spoken to him.
She nods. And then I think, kind of like suddenly stops playing and looks like somewhere to the west and like tilts her head and is like quiet for a moment. Do you like say anything?
Can I? I need to open my character sheet, actually.
Okay.
What do you see? Or what are you looking at?
I heard something. Another. There's like another pause. She says like an unexpected line in the poem, and she kind of like stands up and keeps looking west and then looks back to you. Says, "Curious to see what your response will be. What's your callback to this line?" And she like jumps off the wall, kind of like out of sight, and starts like walking away. And like, if you look back to the guards sitting up here, it doesn't seem like anyone else saw anything. Anyone else in line of sight. Yeah. From there, you're kind of like free to do whatever you want. If you would like to go, yeah. If there is anything you would like to do here in the temple, let me know. Otherwise, we can jump to what the other folks are doing.
Well, this is pretty soon after our battle, right?
Yeah, this is like less than an hour. Like some of the, basically, like the generals came up and they were like giving a report to Salamander, and you were kind of like led away while that was going on. And yeah, but it's just like close to an hour after the fight with Salamander finished.
I guess if it seems like most of his attendants have like walked away, I'd probably go over to him.
Okay. Yeah. You like peek back up over the stairs, and it seems like his generals are still like there, but like all the priests are gone, and the generals, they've like walked over to kind of where you guys were camping before. They're like talking amongst themselves. And yeah, you are free to approach Salamander.
So I guess I bow my head to him, and I say, "What news do the generals have?"
He he opens like one large eye and like looks at you, head kind of still turned like slightly away, and he says, "It seems that Brass has not yet arrived after all. You are clever birds."
Well, I would say we were mostly lucky. But I suppose that there is an amount of cleverness to it.
Yeah. It seems to be like waiting for you to continue.
What next?
We prepare for Brass. He is by far the biggest threat to our endeavors. Then we march on the town you seem to love so much.
It is the place of my people.
That is worthy of fondness.
Is this really the only way?
I think there's like a little like the last half of his tail kind of like slaps the dais a little bit. Not too hard, just like a little motion. He says, yes, I do not see another way to remove the council and what it stands for.
Was there something specific that the council is doing?
They are the last grip of a line of power from an unscathed city that still functions like the old world.
My friends, they have no love for the council. And the people have no love for them either. There's no reason for the city to die for the sins of a few.
The people do not have to die, but the city must.
Because it is his, correct?
It's like it's hard to like you're not sure what gives you this impression. It's hard to like notice subtle physical movements in a salamander. But that's like you get the sense that question like irritated him. There's a beat, and then he's like, that is why the act will bring satisfaction.
I see.
There's like another moment. He says, like kind of justifying that maybe. He says, Adam too is a product of the old world. One of the oldest products. I don't think he knew how to live in the new one.
I am unsure. We were not particularly close. I do suppose that if you understand my hesitance, correct?
There's like a motion that you interpret as like an affirmative, like a little head shift.
I think Solace just walks away now.
Okay.
There's not much more for Solace to do here.
I think maybe you start to walk away, and like I think I don't know if you realize it, but this whole conversation has been like one of those telepathic ones. I'm not sure like how much that registered. But this time like his actual voice comes out and he says, stay a few moments tell me something of this city that you love so much. And we don't have to like roleplay through a, you know, story of that necessarily, if you don't want to. But like, just let me know if you comply with that request or if you keep walking away.
No, I mean, like, there are things that I'm sure Solace loves about the city, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume.
And there are things I have, like, hard baked into his character as well.
Right.
So I guess he wouldn't, like, run away from that.
Okay. Yeah. Cool, so I think we see Solus, like, stop, turn around, and walk back. Does Solus, like, sit down as he starts talking, or does he, like, stay standing and at attention?
No, he doesn't placate here. He definitely just stays standing.
Okay, cool. So I think we hear, like, kind of the start of Solus telling a story, and then I think we fade out, and we'll, like, go back to Ludwig and Sonus. And Eve, you, Blevin, like, came down and was gonna lead you the way back to the other two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we can, like, jump to so I guess, do you, like, part ways with Zima? I think if you don't say anything, she'll think her job is done, and she'll, like, say her goodbyes before you, like, head up the hill.
Before she goes, I'll be like, Devin, just one moment, please. Zima, I imagine she's, like, trying to leave.
Yeah, I think she's, like, pulling a cloak back up, and she'll, like, stop and, like, look over her shoulder at you and up at you.
Why were you here exactly? Were you here just to scout out the lay of the land?
Don't be too angry with me for this, but I was actually sent to spy on you. See how well you did.
I owe you my life, so I can't really get too peeved. Only, slightly annoyed? Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair. Hope this makes up for it somewhat.
Oh, easily.
I made it clear to him that I owed you one, and that I like your group beyond that, so...
Well, I know you could consider the debt paid, but... off the record, how far away is Brass?
She thinks, she's like, knowing how they move? Maybe 2 days out, depending on how much trouble they've gotten in.
This may be a slightly weirder question, but... you wouldn't happen to have any shields on you, would you?
Any shields? Thinks for a moment. She like...
Yes, maybe one about, like, this big, and Eve's, like, making a really, really big, like, thing, like... Yes, like this big, maybe. I mean, did you see how big his teeth were?
She chuckles and nods and says, don't know how much good it will do you, but I have a scroll of shield. I know, not the most, exciting thing.
Does she have any weapons on her?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Sure. I have to find that. There it is. Wow, I wasted the 19 here. That's cool.
Yeah, I think she has like a dagger and like a halfling-sized crossbow. Gnome-sized crossbow, whatever. Small crossbow.
Look, this may sound rather crazy, but are you any good with that crossbow?
She looks at it and she's like, that's last resort among last resorts.
Well then, never mind. Just... I don't know, I know I should be happy to walk away with my life, but... I feel cheated somewhat, you know? I feel like I came all this way and I can't give up now, can I?
There's like a moment of hesitation, and she's like, "Sure, he'll cheat it."
Sonus at this point would chime in.
You're like up the hill a little too far. You guys are like waiting for Eve. Sorry.
Never mind then.
You might be sitting there going like, "What's the holdup? We saw Eve like out of the cage. What's going on?" But yeah, I think there's like a beat, and then she's like, "Sure, feel cheated. You were quite close to your prize, weren't you? But I think there's like a look crosses over her face, and then it's like gone, and she says, sometimes the prize isn't worth it, you know."
I was so sure we'd be able to do this, and I don't know now.
No?
Honestly, I feel like I almost got everybody killed.
I think she turns around and she looks like... She gives you an apologetic look, or like a maybe it's more a look of like pity. She's like, it's not a feeling I would wish on anyone. Be careful. I'll be...
Not very good at that, but I guess, that's as good a time as any to learn. Thanks, though. Oh, and, if you do tell the story, make sure it sounds like I went out in the blaze of glory. Not, you know, down like a common farm animal.
I saw the wounds you inflicted on a demigod, no less. It wouldn't be a lie. And then she, like, pulls up her hood and starts walking away.
Well then. Eve's gonna, like, just, like, dig through her bag, make sure everything's there, while she's, like, walking up the slope.
I think 10 gold's gone.
Well, I'd say that's, it's quite generous of her. I would have taken much more. What does 10 gold buy? She's like monologuing to herself. What does 10 gold buy you anyway? What, like maybe half a glass of ale? In one of those dirty taverns?
That's too good. So yeah, and then I think we see Eve following Blevin up the hill, kind of like pushing through some of the branches, and yeah, Ludwig and Sonus, you're able to see her from a little ways away as she pushes through kind of the underbrush.
Oh, say God, Blevin, come here.
Eve is gonna like look kind of be looking at the ground, like at her feet, like not saying anything to the rest of the party. She's like, hey, Ludwig,
It's good to see you, Eve.
Well then, I think that's everything that needed to be said, right?
Sure.
Okay, I'm fine. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I almost got everybody killed because I was Sonus, what's the word?
What word are you trying to think of?
That's not how what is the word works.
Hey, I think that's a very accurate Sonus.
Yeah.
It is. It's so good.
All right, fine. I'll come out and say it. I was selfish. I was probably incorrect.
Sonus is gonna pull Ludwig aside and be like, "Are we sure we got the right one?"
Eve's like still like going off on like not even look at them. I may have bit off more than I could chew.
Oh,
It
you
is
know,
out of character for her.
maybe you should take some advice from Salamander.
It could. Okay, so here's what
On
I'm
biting
thinking.
and
We
chewing?
wait 10 minutes and make sure she's not like under an infiltrator potion or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Maybe I mean, I don't know. Maybe he got a lucky strike, but maybe he's stronger than I initially.
Okay, for a second I thought it was her, but
It possibly can't be.
Levin is so rarely wrong. He's got a good nose on him. Okay, noses.
Maybe just. I mean, okay, maybe Salamander is. Look, I still don't agree with what you did, talking with him and everything, but look, what I did was wrong, okay? There, I said it, and she looks up, and you guys are like gossiping. Are you even listening to me?
Oh yes, you're very sorry. So where's
No,
Solus?
I didn't apologize, but
Do you have a lie detector potion?
Well, kind of. Not really.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you guys that I messed up, and you're just lie detector. Look, you wouldn't be able to detect my lies even if you had a potion. Let's be
Oh,
real.
that's her. That's her. There it is.
There's no truer lie detection than one's own ego.
So true. So where is Solus? Did you see him in the prison?
Wait, I thought he was up here with you guys.
No, we were beating a retreat, but it seems like he stayed behind.
Oh no. Eve just kind of like, her face goes like ashen white. And she just kind of like falls to her knees. She's like, I got Solus killed, didn't I?
It's tough to say. Probably not.
What do you mean, probably not? Did you see how big his fucking teeth were?
Yeah, well,
No,
he was
I'm
kind
sure
of
you
focused on you.
They weren't in your side like they were in mine. Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw that Ludwig would take a look at you too, like medically, to make sure that Eve is tip-top shape again.
No, it's still fucked. I only have 10 HP.
Yeah.
Okay, hold
Like,
still.
someone did a bad job of patching Eve up.
Oh my god, this is terrible. Do they not have doctors up there? They must just pray and say, oh, I hope it gets healed.
Ludwig, don't touch that. That really fucking hurts.
Yeah, this is gonna scar.
Oh, looks like we need to just amputate it.
Amputate.
My
This is gonna grab his paddle jokingly.
Well,
Jokingly, he says.
Roll intimidate.
I can't if you
I
want.
don't think Sonus has ever used the sharp side of his paddle, so it's
True.
probably still as sharp as the day he bought it.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
a
except
leaf
the thing
falls
is-
on it and it just gets cut in two as it goes down.
The thing is, like, you've seen him sharpen it still, even though he never uses it.
Yeah. That size and sharpness could cut through sourdough in one slice.
Yeah, but it would flatten the bread, so I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Ludwig would start patching Eve up, but definitely maybe leaving enough to scar intentionally a little bit.
Okay.
Ow. Oh, could you please be a little gentle with that? Oh, that feels like it's opening up again. Okay, Ludwig, you might want to... Okay, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Say, who's the doctor here? Neither of us, but I know more.
Closer to
Sonus
a
would
doctorate.
Also jokingly take out a torch and be like, the only thing fire is good for is to cauterize a wound.
Eva's gonna like literally like reach into like the side and like just grab a piece of rope, just cut it and just like bite down and be like,
I don't think we'll need that, but you know, it's a good backup plan.
Do you want to give me a medicine check to?
Sure. All right. That is a critical, so that's 4d8.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Cool. I'll go up to 29.
So that takes
Sonus...
10 minutes worth of working on you.
1 minute. Can Ludwig get her up to full health or no?
Yeah, over time.
Ludwig has continual recovery, so he can just keep doing it.
Isn't there
otherwise, like, Sonus can use heal.
Gotcha.
Yes, it's okay. I'll just keep working. I don't think we're on a time crunch, other than saving Solus, but it might be a good idea to kind of let the anthill die down a little bit.
Are the harpies around us?
Not yet, no.
The harpies are still on, like, the coastline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't actually know that they were.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
That was like the ending scene.
Yep.
Okay.
And aside.
So yes, I guess while I'm doing this, I guess we could rescue Solas. That's number one. But I'm not sure what we want to do anymore. I don't think it's realistic for us to kill Salamander, but we could probably be a thorn in his side if we really wanted to.
You know, let's just see how far am I from Salamander?
Oh, that's not. That is not an accurate representation of where you guys are. That's just a convenience. So we have basically so I can make skill checks with your tokens.
Sonus flashes in by Salamander, hits him once, then flashes out, and just does that every 6 seconds till he's dead.
I was kind of actually thinking about that strategy-wise.
Are you? Would you say? Would you say I'm within 500 feet?
No.
Not asking for any specific.
Salamander uses teleport.
Definitely not in line of sight.
Yeah, because that's up on a hill, right? We kind of went down a bit.
You guys can probably still see the temple, and you can probably still, like, scale the hill from the side you're on, just because it's not that steep. Like, even if you don't take the path, you can just push through the brush and climb up the hill. Yeah. There's still an outward chance of being spotted by some of the guards, because they do have people, like, patrolling the sides and standing on kind of, like, these platforms on the edge.
Okay.
But yeah.
I guess Sonus, while Ludwig is doing this, is he would kind of just like look around the area within a decent range just to see if there is anyone or to see what he can see.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are not like, you know, you're like 100 feet out maybe from like where the general's, like the officer's mess kind of is, and like a barracks next to that. You're not that far from like the military buildings that you guys kind of passed on the way up, and the trail up to the temple is like a little bit to your south, southwest from where you are. Solus, I think one thing you see, I'm really excited to drag all these things out again. Oh, jeez. One thing you see is that, like, the priests and citizens from inside the temple are, like, starting to kind of funnel out again as night rolls on, as they realize, like, the danger's kind of over. And yeah, other than that, is there anything you guys want to do tonight? Or are you just gonna like make camp, or do you want to scout things out a little?
If there are no people, if there are no people like inside the temple, Solace will probably want to be like walking around in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I know that you've already kind of explored this, but this is like basically how Solace is like filling the time after he like told his story to Salamander.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're able to, like, check it out a little bit. I think, like, as a formality, it, like, if a guard sees you heading that way, they'll, like, come over and escort you down, but kind of let you walk around. Basically, just make sure you don't grab some of the treasure. It seems some has gone missing.
Some, in air quotes. I hope they like copper a lot.
It seems like they accept it, anyway.
But no, Ludwig would have nothing that he's particularly wanting to do other than hunker down and kind of collect himself.
Okay, sounds good.
I think Sonos would be in the same boat.
Wait, you're in a boat now? What the fuck?
He's getting
I
out
am
of
the
here.
Midwest paddle.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, then I guess we'll kind of jump to the next morning. You guys aren't discovered while you're asleep or anything. So, I guess that just jumps to kind of the same question the next day. Oh, and Solus, do you want me to describe the basement of the temple again, or do you kind of remember?
No, I remember it.
Okay, got you.
But they talked about like the imprinting, right? Like the mural.
Yeah.
So I want to find that, and I want to like kind of, I guess, like copy it or sketch it into my journal.
Okay, sure. What do you need to roll to like recreate an art design? I think you can just do it. I think you're fine.
Yeah, it like the actual amount of time it takes doesn't actually matter to Solace. It's just like he could be down here for 6 or 7 hours and do it and not actually give a shit. Like,
right? Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the next morning. And I guess it's kind of the same question the next morning. What would the group that's together? What do you have in mind? We'll go back to you guys waking up and see you making plans, figuring out what you want to do.
Okay, well, I woke up a little early. Eve, Sonas, here's your invisibility potion for the day. Use it wisely. I also have a spare infiltrator's elixir if we think we're going to need to sneak in anywhere.
Oh, what's that do?
Oh, you remember the time we were at the temple and you was an old farmer fella? It does that.
Oh, yeah.
He starts thinking for a second. Can you get it to recreate specific people?
No, can't do that. Just kind of like close approximations.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
So, Vater, we need to get up there and see if we can get Solus back, I guess.
Well, should I do a recall or like a perception to see if I saw any like female high-ranking officials?
There's like a whole lot of priestesses and priests and stuff. I don't know about high ranking. Like,
those that kind of like looked important is what I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Sure, yeah. It's easy to look kind of like a... Like, thankfully, all of the important people on the religious side wear robes.
Hey, you remember that Ramona? Wasn't it crazy when she just became a new cleric that, like, no one's really met a lot before?
Yes, I like where you're going with this.
Going? What? But yes, I think we should meet up with Solas, get him back, and then we can decide how we're going to do this. I'm not totally sold on still trying to kill him, but if we are, I don't think up close is the way to do it.
Look, Ludwig, I admitted that I was wrong last night. I don't know if we can kill him. But,
Solas, she's been replaced once more!
Oh, I'm not a fan. We need to get the old one.
well...
Oops.
Look, I have a really strange idea.
Oh, I like that.
I have no idea how priesthood works or anything like that. But Ramona was anointed on the spot. Deemed worthy of Salamander, right?
Yep.
But do you think perhaps one of us could be anointed and be somehow protected from him?
That seems like that would be tricky. He's kind of probably going to see through it like a disguise, and I think he only anointed her because there was, like, the immediate danger.
Yeah, well, good point. Well, never mind that then.
Quick question. Do we know of any actual, like, abilities or power that is given to, like, clerics and whatnot of Salamander?
Yeah, that'll be... Well, I think it'll be a religion check. I think we'll go with that. I've been, like, back and forth on whether the new divinities are going to be religion or occult, but we'll just do religion.
Occult would be so much
Underworld.
Like, I agree, but then I feel like that's giving occult a lot, because occult also has been a lot of other things in the game.
I'll sure try, even though I'm not gonna get a decent roll. Never
Seems like you
mind.
are. So it seems like they've gotten...
I better be able to figure out the inner workings of this.
And they've gotten,
0.
like, fireballs, you've noticed, which is not normally a clerical thing. It's not usually a religious spell. And then, like, other than that, they're granted kind of some usual cleric abilities. I think in your research you've discovered in town, you've, like, heard them talking about how perhaps a normal cleric can, like, harness the power of their deities to, like, heal those around them. And, you know, the basically the level 3 heal spell, right? And clerics of Salamander have a thing where they can just, you know, burn non-believers from the inside out. Pleasant abilities like that.
This is probably not the case. This is more so a question on actual mechanics.
Okay.
So say one person uses... this is probably a no. But say one person uses, like, fire magic, and they're then attacked with fire magic. Is there any... Do they take less damage in a sense because of using...
So, like, you as an air sorcerer, like, you have resistance to air, right?
Not yet, but he will.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, never mind.
I resist energy, which allows me to choose a.
Right. Okay. Well, I think you know that, like, yeah, some casters get resistance to an element that they are aligned with, but that's not like a wizardy cleric. Well, it can. I don't know. It depends.
So I was just trying to figure out if like one of us somehow got aligned, if we would essentially be able to take on Salamander.
That's a probably not.
Okay. Do I understand how power is granted? Is it similar to how a sorcerer functions?
Not at all. For a cleric, not at all. For a sorcerer, it's all about bloodline. It's all about like inherent power and like drawing forth the power from within. For a cleric, it's all about like making a pact. Especially these days, it's about making a pact with some divine entity and like having a holy symbol that is anointed with their power, and then you're able to like channel their power through the holy symbol and bring forth divine magics by their will. It's like not at all about internal power. You have like no internal power yourself.
I'm not trying to just ask a bunch of questions.
No, it's fine.
There you are.
Well, I'm not trying to take up a bunch of time, but do you mean there's a literal physical symbol on them?
Yeah, they all have some kind of yes.
And that's like how they mainly get their power?
Yep.
Well, they also make a pact.
Right. It's a two-pronged thing, but a lot of their spells will require them to use their holy symbol.
Yeah, do you remember how Ramona got the fire halo around her head? Yeah, she made a... Remember how we talked about, like, there's a price for power? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Sonus is trying to think, like...
Dude, Sonus hates fire.
Well, that, but it's also, like...
He's trying to help Eve out, though. You've expressed interest in learning the clerical ways.
Stupidly. Very stupidly.
Correct.
See that,
However,
see that. Then also, Sonus is trying to think of like, oh, what if we somehow removed all of these people's holy symbol from their body, which is
it's a lot of holy symbols.
Yeah, but like, or what if we remove some, like either
like,
by
correct. If you walk up to a cleric and you like yank off their holy symbol, they won't be able to use a lot of their magic.
Okay, where are holy symbols like tattoos or what?
They're usually like an amulet of some sort or something that they hold, like an ankh or something, you know, some kind of religious artifact. It can change shapes, like depending on like the deity.
Okay. I'll stop asking questions. I'm just trying to figure out.
It's a good point you raised, but perhaps we're thinking too head on. This salamander, he's unapproachable, but he's just a god. I mean, his army, it's not like he's marching right now. And an army is led by people who die all the time. You can cause a lot of chaos with a few well-placed deaths. My tribe learned these things from some apes up in the mountain. We call it guerrilla warfare. I'm saying if we're trying to help Brass out and even the odds a little bit, that might be an option, but frankly, I've come a little closer to death than I want to ever be right now. I'm interested in the temple, but I don't know if it's worth risking our lives for.
I think at around that time, we hear you talking about making noise and guerrilla warfare and everything, and you guys hear just a kind of sounds like a loud snap. If you want to give me perception checks.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Solus, you're sitting at the temple. You said you're already looking west.
Jesus.
Oh, hello,
You see,
Rava.
you see one of those flares.
Oh, hi, Mark.
You see one of those flare-style fireballs just go off above the forest to the west. And, like, I think you see a bunch of... There's a lot of soldiers and priests out around now. And they look at each other. They look a little concerned. But, like, after yesterday, everyone's kind of, like, hesitant to, move, basically. Ludwig and Eve, you both know that that's the sound of a flare-style fireball. It's like, loud, fireworky sound. And you might, like, slightly see... Ludwig, I think you spot, like, since your eyes are more sensitive to light, you, like, kind of see the flash, even though it's broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, like, get the general direction that it's coming from.
I can kind of trace it back a little bit.
Yeah, and how close did you guys camp to these military buildings down below? Did you, like, camp right where you, like, in place, or did you head into the hills more?
I believe when we had talked through it in the original escape, we went a fair bit, but I'm open to... I feel like Ludwig would not be interested in camping very close at all to the temple, but you guys could probably override that if you were feeling it.
You guys aren't close to the temple unless you moved there, but the military buildings are close to shore? Like, Eve's Cage was close to shore. Kind of in the northwest.
I assumed we probably would have moved, like, a bit away.
Okay.
Up and right there.
Yeah. If you're still, like, within a mile, or, half a mile or something.
That seems fair. Like, far enough we'd hear anybody coming, but not so far we can't get there if we need to be.
Yeah. I think you hear, like, some bells, and maybe, like, a bit of distant barking.
Oh God, run!
Okay, is that, you think that could be brass already?
No, I mean, oddly enough, I trust Zima, and she said he was 2 days out.
I think this is the point where Sodas and Ludwig, you look at each other and you're like, Zima?
Wait, Zima? I thought you broke out of the jail. When did you see Zima? What?
I thought you guys had eyes on me. Like, did you guys specifically say that you had eyes on me the night before?
I thought we had seen Eve, but I couldn't.
Yeah, so they, like, rolled...
We did, and we sent Blevin.
They saw the cage, they saw Eve in the cage, and then they, like, hunkered down, sent in Blevin, but they didn't roll good enough perception checks to see Zima.
Yes, look, if I could have gotten out of that cage myself, why do you think it took me so long to do it?
I figured you were unconscious and bleeding out.
Well, I was.
Well, I just figured you were too scared.
What? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh, it's so much safer in this cage, oh my!
Oh, I'm not gonna get bit by a salamander in here.
Okay, how did I get all my stuff back then?
The guards were dumb and left it near ya.
Yeah, that checks out.
Jeez, I'm starting to think you're as stupid as the guards are in the story.
Well, here, let me lay down the logic real quick. We're talking about people who believe in a fire god. Those sound like nonsensical people to me.
Okay, but the point is, Zima said that Brass wouldn't be here. But then, who's this?
Solus? Like, Eve perks up.
Oh.
I think that's... If you all don't mind, can we jump to Solus and see what your response is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
If you're on Solus. So you see, like, the flare-style fireball go up in the west. What is your response? How do you react?
What the fuck?
Fair.
Looks like Eve's up to it again.
Well, the thing is like, I think that Solace knows that it can't be Eve. Because getting off the island seems about as difficult as getting on. Like, I think that Solace knows that you guys haven't left yet. But not because of me, but because, like, I think he just doesn't believe that you guys will just abandon him. Do you know what I mean?
We did abandon you to come over here.
No, I know, but you guys haven't left yet, right? So, the thing is like, he knows that that flare can't be something from you because you're still on the island.
Yeah, but you saw that Eve shot it out really far.
I will say this is further than 500 feet.
Yeah, like, from what I'm understanding, I was like, this is from, like, the shoreline.
Yeah, or like the middle of the woods at least. It's like halfway to the shore, I would say.
Yeah, his, like, first reaction is probably just like, what the fuck?
Fair.
And I don't think he really knows what's going on beyond that. I don't have, like, a spell that will
Yeah. Gotcha.
allow me to see that far.
Okay. If you want to just chill for now, that's fine. If you at some point have something you would like to do, let me know. And then yeah, we'll just like jump back to the group then.
That's totally fine. I just have to... Yeah, just focus on them. I'm gonna use the bathroom really quick. I should probably stop drinking coffee in the middle of these sessions.
Yeah, so we'll jump back to the group, and yeah, you guys can continue talking. Ludwig just said that maybe it was Solus, I think, or someone said it was maybe Solus.
I think Eve
I
did.
said Solus,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Let's get closer, but, stealthy, like, maybe we don't challenge anybody right away.
Look, I told you, I learned my lesson. Please, let it go.
This is gonna take some getting used to. You have to cut me some slack.
Oh, come on. I cut you slack when you got beaten up by the lizard people, didn't I? I only made fun of you, like, 2 or 3 times.
Okay, keeping count. You're at 2.
Well, there we go. We're even. Because let's be real here. I get at least one more opportunity to make fun of you.
Also, I don't think anyone has gone down as much as Helios yet. Still.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes, that's funny. I'll have to remember that. Oh, that's alright. The lizards. We both have a problem with lizards, don't we?
Well, I'm pretty sure Salamander's not a lizard, because my scale sword would have done much better against it.
It's true, he's an amphibian.
Yeah. Cusses. Yeah, I guess, do we want to just stick to the trees and kind of try and follow it? If Ludwig saw where it's coming from, he can kind of figure out the point of origin for us to head towards.
Yeah.
No, I just realized Solace doesn't know that she got out of her cage.
Correct.
So Solace would actually go look at her cage, and then realize. Yeah.
Okay. That is very far down the hill, so you'll need like an escort to do that, I think.
Please tell me there's just like pillows piled under a blanket.
Sorry, I came back and I was like just thinking. I was like, wait, Solace doesn't know that she got out.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're able to like go talk to one of the guards, and they're like, all right, fine, yeah, we go see your friend, and he'll procure he'll get a goblin dog for himself, and then he'll like kind of look you over, be like, I think you're too tall for one of these. Just follow me, and like you start down the trail. Let's see. It would sure be convenient for you to run into the party, but I think they get across the road faster than... Like, they leave before you get there, basically. They're too close. So, party, go ahead and make a stealth check if you're trying to, like, stick to the trees and not be seen. Just everyone in the party, go ahead and make one.
Come on, dude.
Okay. I will keep that in mind. Okay, so yeah, you guys are able to, like, head through the trees. You do eventually come across, like, the path down from the temple. You have to, like, wait a minute for some group to pass by before cutting through, but you're able to make it across. And then Solus and guard escort, you're, like, walking down the path. Probably at just a walking pace, nothing too fast or anything. You eventually get down to, like, the military buildings where, like, the generals are, where the barracks is, and, like, there's definitely people mobilizing, you can see, like, in the center of the building. Like, putting on armor, a couple goblins getting on goblin dogs, on mounts. But, yeah, your escort leads you to this cage, and it's, like, a little cluster of these standalone iron cages out back behind the officer's mess, and, like, you approach, and then, like, your escort runs, suddenly is just like, what the, and he, like, whips the rope, the reins, jeez, and, like, runs off ahead of you a little bit, and hops off and, like, starts looking at the cages, and he's looking a little frantic.
Is something wrong, officer?
Like, scratches his head and looks at you and says, yes, seems your friend has escaped already.
Well, hopefully it wasn't your job to keep her locked up.
No, I'm a patrol. No, he shakes his head.
Well, maybe you should start patrolling and maybe find her.
Go ahead and make a diplomacy check. I assume you are kind of trying to convince him to, like, leave you alone to do this. I think that's probably not quite enough. He'll kind of, like, rub his chin, so he'll say, might be a good reward for bringing her back, but I can't leave you alone.
What can I do?
He kind of
I've already
narrows his
basically
eyes.
guaranteed that I haven't done anything wrong, and honestly, I want to know why all these people are mobilizing.
He looks over there. He's like, we can investigate, but I'm going with you. And, like, I think he'll hop back on his mount and, like, start leading you over towards, like, this group of like goblins and humans who are, like, throwing their armor on and kind of forming ranks. And yeah, he'll just, like, find whoever is in charge of this, like, patrol going out and just ask what's going on. And it's just like, we're not sure yet. We just saw the flare. No actual reports have gotten back. We think... Kind of, like, looks nervously at his men and then looks back. He's like, brass, maybe? I mean, I know yesterday was a false alarm, but...
Saul shrugs.
Anything else you would like to do there while we're on that scene, or should we jump back to the group?
No, we can go back to my party mates.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are trudging through the forest, and like I think further towards the shore, you hear the sound of like kind of a familiar sound at this point of like a group of scouts riding goblin dogs running by, and there's just like barking and snarling and pretty close to you guys. Like it's within vision, just like outside the trees and like kind of a thinner part of the forest. There's like a little path there, maybe. And are you just continuing towards the source of the flare, or do you want to? You just kind of keep going?
Yeah, do we want to just pause for a moment, let them zoom past, and then keep going?
Sure, yeah. I guess my question is, do you want to keep following your sense of direction towards the flare, or do you want to just follow these guys?
They look like they're headed that way.
Generally, yeah. Seems like they're responding to it.
I'll leave that to you guys. We'll probably get there faster following them, but yeah, they were kind of on the path.
Sounds good to me.
Look,
Okay.
let's just fastest way we can get this service without getting caught. Quite frankly, we do have a round 2 against Salamander. I did not say this, but I'd like to prepare a bit more for it.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, if Solus is in trouble, let's go.
So yeah, let's just kind of book it after the goblin folks at a respectable distance.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you are able to keep up. Well, I mean, not really, but you're able to keep in earshot of the snarling, barking nonsense. Sonus could keep up.
Yeah,
And-
Sonus has to drag Ludwig along a little bit.
Right? Yeah. So, like, I think you get to a point where up ahead, the snarling and barking is replaced with, like, yelps of pain and, like, some shouts of confusion that are kind of not intelligible from the distance you're at. There's, like, the twangs of bowstrings firing, and then, like, the clashing of steel against steel.
Well, I'm gonna turn towards the party and be like, well, looks like Zima lied to us.
Or it could be Solus. Wait, no, he doesn't really do a sword, does he?
Yes, and there's definitely more than one sword.
Okay, well, I mean, let's still go check it out.
Are we able to like peek above a bush to
Yeah.
like look into this
Like
clear?
Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
Going, Scoob, Solus is in trouble.
we see all of your collective upper bodies just like raised above a bush in sync. And I think the first thing you see, like pretty close, is a familiar kind of a familiar woman with like these broad shoulders and like a kind of like feather sticking out of her hair, swinging a sword that doesn't necessarily rival Sonus' sword, but is in the same style, very broad blade.
Oh yeah, don't you know she's no Midwest battle?
And she cuts a goblin down pretty close to you, knocking it off a mount, and the dog like goes running by. A little further back, there's you see a group of harpies beyond that, like all kind of like wielding swords and like slashing at these scouts that have found them. And kind of in the middle of the group, there's a like larger harpy, again with kind of a more. It's like kind of a strange combination of a more humanoid, like upper form, except like the face is kind of a little more hawkish and not quite like, I don't know, not quite as human shaped as a harpy. It's kind of weird. She's just wearing like full plate. She's wielding a shield and a sword, and like cuts down one goblin in front of her, and I think like turns and like with a large talons on her feet, like kind of reaches out and like grabs another goblin off of his mount and like throws them at the ground. And they're making real quick work of this scouting party. There's like 5 harpies, this human person with a large sword, and then like one larger harpy, the armored one.
So Eve, Sonas, you wanna help him out?
Eve's gonna look at Ludwig, be like, well, I never thought I'd hear you be the one to call us into action. And she smiles. What do you say, Stennis? She says as she draws her rapier.
Sonus already has his paddle out and is like walking that direction.
Well, I think that answers that question.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, Ludwig's actually gonna stay back.
Yeah, the wording was, do even Sonas want to help out? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think we need
nearby.
I don't think we need to roll initiative here. You guys are just like mopping them up. I think like maybe we see like one of the goblins pulling back a bow, and then we see Sonus just walk up from behind and like knock him flat with the blade. You know, see Eve like throw a dagger at one of the dogs. Sorry, go ahead.
The spinning thing over his thing, like the birds, like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah,
I like the sound effect you did there.
Yeah.
So there's like a brief flash of that, some like cries of pain from the scouting party, and then like kind of another like the camera fades out and like pulls down on just the scouting group being cleaned up, and you're everyone's kind of catching their breath, and like Rava looks at your group with it. I don't know how easily you guys pick out one harpy from another, but one that seems to recognize you anyway smiles, or like grins in your direction, and says, "Kind of you to join us. Quick on the uptake. Didn't take you long to find us at all."
Well, it took you kind of long to find us. Eve says as she like stabs another goblin. Oh!
It's good to see you.
Sonus is gonna take the time to walk over to Eve and like hit her on the back of the head for saying that. They were polite and they flew all the way here to help us, okay? You treat them with a little respect.
Got here in 3 days once we heard notice. Made faster time than you would have.
What do you mean heard notice?
Oh, did you get a note?
She nods.
Yes.
Met with some gnolls from the east. Met up with a group of interesting travelers. Left a note for Guardian Harpy. They almost didn't deliver it.
Oh.
Said they...
That's tough to hear.
Didn't trust the adventurers from Eden, but they ran it by us, and...
Well, we're very glad you're here because, this salamander guy's kind of a lot of trouble. Like, I don't know how familiar you are, but, Eve, show him what he can do.
Eve is literally like spinning around, just like cutting a dude's throat and stabbing the other guy. And they're like, I'm kind of busy right now.
She's getting some of her anger out.
Oh, if you keep going like that, you're just gonna open the wound again.
It pans to Eve just kicking a goblin dog over the cliff.
I think when you do that, yeah, you like overextend a little bit, and you do feel there's a little pang in your side. It's like, oh.
Also, quick question.
Uh-huh.
Weren't the harpies the ones who told us about Salamander in the first place?
I don't know about the first place.
Oh, well,
but...
I know the one harpy that Explicita. Mm-hmm. It was like at Explicita's place.
Right, that's Rava. That's the one. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was definitely like said something along the lines of how they were no fans of Salamander. Yes.
Yeah. We gave or she gave us a scroll that I believe we still have.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have the scroll of Zone of Truth that we need to use
Right.
as explicit.
Yeah.
Because we had Ben Griff,
Uh-huh.
the Midwest, the real Midwest paddle.
Right. The true paddle.
of the North.
Yeah, the true paddle exposes all lies.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I guess. Was this kind of like a strike force? Who'd you bring? You guys? Army? What are we looking at?
I think Rava looks at the rest of the group. And he's like, "6 of our finest warriors and the Guardian of the North."
The Guardian of the North is their god, right?
Correct.
I explicitly remember that being what was his name? Ned Stark?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't actually say that.
His name is actually Sednark. Okay.
That's the King of the North. He was just executed in Lunderkirk, so.
I'm going to roll a religion check, or I don't know, religion or society. I kind of want to see what kind of rumors I've heard about. Yeah, I don't want to do religion. I want to hear like what people say about the Guardian of the North.
Sure.
So what would you like me to roll?
Probably society.
Nice.
Yeah, so the Guardian of the North is like, let's see, I guess, yeah, if it's just the rumors, they're totally just a hero that appeared out of nowhere to defend Knoll villages from like Salamander's oppression. And like, you know, again, rumors say that they like single-handedly held back the flow of like bandits and everything from Salamander, like from taking over these villages and like kick them out of the hills, the arid hills, by the tuning peaks, single-handedly, basically.
Would we know enough to kind of hypothesize that in fact the lady with the sword might just be the Guardian of the North?
No, isn't she the one talking to us?
Rava is not the Guardian of the North.
Right.
Is the lady with the other like giant sword the Guardian of the North?
No, the human is not the Guardian of the North.
Okay.
Wait, is the Guardian of the North Harpy?
Yes, the one that's like got the weird hybrid look of like more humanoid body but less humanoid face is probably the Guardian of the North. The one in full plate wielding like a shield and a sword and with like these, like, most of the harpies have these kind of scraggly wings. The Guardian, the one harpy, the taller harpy, has like these almost angelic like white plumes. And so far, she's just like looking you over from the back and letting Rava talk, rolling her own perception checks.
So is that the Guardian of the North? Oh.
I think she like squares up towards you, and like Rava starts to respond, and she says, "I am."
Oh, excellent! I've heard some great stories about you, to be honest.
She like crooks an eyebrow and kind of like does this like affirmative nod that also, yeah.
And Eve's gonna squint and be like, "Oh, I heard you had this gigantic flaming longsword."
That eyebrow crooks a little higher. It's like, stories do get wild. Flames are not my domain.
Oh, I heard the flames were blue, though. Yes.
Music and Rava are talking
Sonus
over
is
here.
going to, like just shout, "Oh my gosh, thank you, another like-minded person." Like thinking that she's just trashing on fire when actually thinks she doesn't use it.
Yeah, she kind of.
What?
She looks at you. I think.
What would?
It's not too hard to notice that this taller harpy, the guardian, is like looking at Sonus more than the rest of you.
Do harpies use magic revolving around like air?
So Eve's role knows that, yes. The Guardian of the North commands both, like, defensive magics and also, like, wind spells. And, yeah.
Can I make some sort of check based on my background with being, like, a sorcerer with wind?
Yeah, you can make,
Please don't do arcane.
Well, no, it's like religion, or society, or
nature,
underworld.
That's like what? Oh,
Can I do nature?
Yeah, sure.
Wait, did you say
I guess,
underworld?
Yeah, I did say underworld.
Would nature and underworld give me two different bits of information?
Yes, nature will give you harpies in general. Underworld will give you underworld
Can I do-
rumors about the Guardian.
Can I do one from each then? Or can I do like
Yeah,
both?
go ahead. I'm gonna tell you the underworld first. Yeah, give me the underworld because I need to look up actual harpies. As far as underworld lore goes, you definitely heard just a group of like mercenaries, kind of thugs actually, talking about how they were with a group that was like trying to basically extort a town near the tuning peaks, like basically trying to get protection money. And then like this harpy in armor came out and like just shredded them with like wind magic, basically blew them out of town. As far as actual harpies go, like nah. They don't inherently have wind magic. They have like a. Actually, let me see what. Yeah. Oh wow, they're actually humanoid knowledge. Recall knowledge society. Weird. Okay. Anyway, it's fine. I'll give you the nature. They have like a song that's like that captivates listeners, but there's nothing about like wind spells or air spells. So it doesn't seem like a natural harpy ability, but there are also like harpy sorcerers. Can I not? Hold on, what the? Oh my god, my Discord fucked up. Is OBS still hearing me? Yeah, that's nice, I guess. God damn it. God damn it. Alright, y'all are gonna hear that description again, likely.
Oh my god, I was about
Well, that was weird.
to make that same reference.
Okay, I have a. How far did you get with my description there?
Literally, we did not hear anything.
Okay. God damn it. Okay, so
because you said you were the last thing I heard is you were looking up stuff on harpies.
great. So
I like
on
to
the
think you had
underworld,
a poetic description.
I did. I'm gonna try to recreate it succinctly. But on the underworld, the lore rumors, you hear that there was like from this group of mercenaries, but kind of leaning on the side of thugs. Like you overheard this in like one of the seedier bars in Eden, I think. They were like doing a job up in the north in a town by the tuning peaks. They were basically trying to like extort protection money from a town. And then like this harpy in armor showed up and basically shred their shit with like wind magic, knocked them all out with like these tornadoes, and the next thing they knew they were like out of town. So there's that. Then on the other hand, harpies don't naturally have any kind of wind magic. They have like a song that will captivate listeners, or weak-minded listeners.
So they're sirens of the air.
Right. They don't have any kind of built-in wind magic, but there are they're humanoids, so they're like harpy sorcerers and such. And maybe there's a lean in harpy sorcerers towards wind magic, but
would I be able to figure out how? Do I know if the Guardian of the North uses wind magic, and if so, can I?
That is what the underworld rumors suggest. Yes.
Okay.
And I think as you kind of walk into the group, and as she takes steps towards you, there's this feeling that you didn't notice at first because it's a little more subtle than the static skin itchy, abrasive feeling of people who mean you, elemental users who mean you harm. There's kind of this feeling of just a sine wave moving through your body, this low feeling akin to someone rubbing their finger along a wine glass and making that ring, a very smooth sound wave. And she turns her gaze from you, and that feeling subsides somewhat, and she says, "You were right, Rava. This one shares blood with me."
I think Sonus would.
Oh.
Not be super thrown off in the sense of maybe he kind of is oh, they're essentially birds.
Do you right? Do you bristle a little bit as this is revealed to your party without, this is something it's not exactly what you've been holding back, but it's in that vein. So do you look? So you don't look surprised, but do you look off-put, or are you just fine? Are you
off in the distance? Solace. Everything makes so much sense now.
Sonus is actually just a harpy.
Sonus has a bird for a brain.
Oh no. Yeah, I think Sonus would kind of be a tad bit off-put.
Okay.
But then would go to Shake. Is there also any rumored name besides the Guardian of the North?
Yes. Well, I actually don't think so. I don't think that there are. I don't think there are rumored names. No, I don't. I'm not from the rules you have.
Okay. Sonus would go to introduce himself. And he'd put out his hand for a handshake and say, "It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard a story or two of you. Do you have a name I can refer to you by?"
I think I think she kind of ignores the second question. She just shakes your hand and she says, I've heard just one story about you, but it sounded quite impressive.
Well, I'm curious what that one might be, but the name is Sonus. Sonus, the Midwest Battle Morale.
Yeah.
Did she give me the handshake or like?
Yeah. She shook your hand.
Okay.
She reached out. It's like a kind of this kind of like gauntlet thing with like it's got like these bone or ivory talons on the end.
Okay.
And yeah, like shakes your hand. And I think she actually just like as soon as she shakes your hand, she goes and she like unclasps the other one and like the other glove and pulls it off. And just like hands it out to you.
So Sonus would reach out and grab it.
Yeah. And like she turns kind of without realizing that like maybe she should say something about it. But she like starts to turn and then like turns back and says like a gift. And sign of good faith.
Sonus would nod and say thank you, and I think he'd be a bit more like off put by this than the idea of like them being family, just because he had was not expecting to be given anything. I guess if it fits, Sonus will go to put it on.
Like she gets
Did you
taller.
really just make a if the glove fits joke?
That's
She's taller than the other harpies, but like harpies are kind of short.
okay.
So like yeah, it's about the right size for your hand. You pull it on, and maybe you should resize it at some point. Yeah, it's like the left hand glove. I imagine the mage hand glove is on the right hand, and yeah, it's like this gauntlet with like it's like the palm is open and like the bottom of the fingers, but like the back is fully metal. And there's like starting at the like first joint of each finger, there's like a plume of feathers going along the back of it, and yeah, it's got like these talons, talons on the fingertips, and like you feel again that like that sine wave feeling kind of resonates, like kind of reverberates through your hand for a moment, and like you just inherently feel like you have some. You feel like attuned with the power of the glove without having to identify it or anything. So pick 2 of these effects that I'm posting in chat.
Oh my god. Okay.
That didn't paste as well as I thought or hoped it might, but yeah. Whatever. You can pick the deadly spark. You can pick the feather steps, or you can pick wind barrier. You can pick 2 of those 3. Anyway, 2 of those abilities like resonate with you and activate. And we'll go to. I guess she'll like look at the rest of you, and say, "So, what is your plan? You seemed to cause a ruckus yesterday. They barely noticed that we landed."
Well, my plan yesterday was to go and kill Salamander, but it didn't really work. As you can see, he's still alive.
Crooks an eyebrow. She's like, "I can see why they were preoccupied."
Yeah, that kind of didn't work out great for us, so we're kind of back to plan. I don't even know at this point, but I think with your here, that helps a lot.
Yes. Hopefully we can even these scales. And I think we'll jump back to Solus. We'll try to resolve Solus's situation here next. So Solus, where you're like kind of in town, and they're like this patrol is gonna start moving out. And like your escort is kind of looking anxious, like looking around. It's like, can we? Like nods back towards the temple.
You can go. I'm gonna prove my usefulness to Salamander.
You can see him like mulling it over, and then he like gives the reins a little slap, and his mount like sidles up next to you, like even step with you basically. It's like, all right, let's go.
Excellent.
If I die to this brass fellow, I'm haunting you.
You wouldn't be the first.
He looks taken aback and like raises an eyebrow. But you guys like follow along this patrol, and yeah, I think we'll jump to the point where like